Daryl's brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. You can also see him right now, YouTube Live, 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe. It's fantastic. You can see him and all his bobbleheads behind him. Hello, Daryl.
Good morning, boys.
Daryl, what do you blame yesterday's mess on?
Well, I would probably blame it on the lack of opportunity that Shedeur Sanders was given to work with the first-team offense, because I think what we saw yesterday was a glimmer of hope. They had a chance at the end, and in sports, that's really all you can ask for. And you'd have to think that had Shedeur Sanders had an opportunity to work with some of those players throughout the offseason or during training camp, maybe they pull that one out. But when Wyatt Teller told me after the game that they didn't even know the guy's cadence, but you got to see a little glimmer there. So a lot of second guessing of the Browns' planning, how they handled this whole quarterback situation this year, how they divided the reps to deal with it as well. But what else is new? I mean, this is what the Browns do. They're constantly stubbing their toe when it comes to quarterback preparation. And you would think that an organization that has gone through now 41 starters, and if Shedeur has to play Sunday in Vegas, that'd be 42, you would think that they would always plan for eventualities. And it is clear they did not plan for the eventuality that something might happen to an undersized quarterback in Dylan Gabriel in the game, and you're going to have to go to your fifth-round pick. Might want to get that guy up to speed.
I saw Daryl, Luke McCown. We've seen other backup quarterbacks been texting us, guys that have been in that role. They said the backups never get first-team reps. Where did this storyline come from that Shedeur was supposed to be getting reps? What would be your retort?
Then why was Dylan Gabriel getting first-team reps as a backup?
He's a third-round pick. I mean, he was. You had
but no. Hang on. You just got done telling me that everyone, and I've seen the posts on social media as well, and I'm not just but backups don't get reps, right? Well, then why was Dylan Gabriel getting them?
You don't see the difference between the guy they drafted in the third round getting the reps behind Joe Flacco?
Because Dylan Gabriel was in a backup role, and the same role that Shedeur Sanders is in, and one guy got reps, the other guy didn't.
But it's not the same, because Dylan
It is the same.
No, it's not. I'm explaining to you, Daryl.
I think it's the same.
He is a rookie, right? Dylan Gabriel's a rookie. The rookie quarterback gets all the reps when they are now getting the opportunity to start. Why would he be giving up reps when you're trying to get him ready to play the football game? That makes no sense.
Yeah, well, no, it does make sense, though, if you're I'm just going by the scenario you laid out, and you said, well, the backup never gets reps, and when Dylan Gabriel was the number 2 quarterback, the backup, he was getting reps. That's all I'm arguing.
To the 40-year-old Joe Flacco.
But that doesn't matter. That's exactly what. No, you just wait a minute. You can't just sit there and say.
Are you guys listening to yourselves?
Yes, I am. You can't just sit there and give me Luke McCown, who, by the way, Luke McCown was a fourth-round quarterback.
Alfred Hitchcock movie? I don't know what's going on here.
I don't understand how you could throw that thing and then act as if we're crazy. If you said that Dylan Gabriel, you're supposed to get the starter ready. You said the backup doesn't get any reps, but somehow that backup got reps.
Yeah,
well, he's a third-round pick.
Joe Flacco, who even said he didn't need all the reps at the start of the year.
Luke McCown didn't get any first-team reps, so he's the fourth-rounder. And he just admitted that on the internet, and we're going by that. So is that where your cutoff line is? You can be a third-round pick and get the first-team reps, but if you're a fourth-rounder further, you can't do it. Again, it's nonsensical.
So
if
what
you did
reps?
it for one, aren't you going to do it for the other?
No,
it's what Daryl says. You're preparing for an eventuality.
Dylan was the third. He was a top 100 pick. He was going to get every. What do you mean? Okay,
well, you just can't.
He's going to get all the reps. Of course he will.
You can't just not.
He's
make
a rookie.
Sense. You can't just not make
Joe
sense
Flacco
and then go. Am I living in the real world here?
We all said before the season that Joe Flacco didn't need all the reps.
Okay.
When people wanted to see both Shedeur and Dylan, let's not all act like those conversations weren't happening. Ken is going to act like those conversations weren't happening. By going, okay, but those conversations were the ones that we had before the season.
You can be as petty as you want. You just sound like a goofball right there.
So, Daryl, given what all these former quarterbacks are saying, why does everybody in the league think now that Shedeur was getting shafted?
Well, he did look unprepared yesterday for that, and that's not just a Shedeur thing. That's an organizational failure. again, you're a franchise that goes through that position like water. Why would you not make sure that he was ready to go if you made him your backup quarterback? I just feel like they put him in a position to fail. That's all. Like, it was great. We got to see him. It was great that he showed he made throws that Dillon Gabriel, quite frankly, is not capable of making. But it would have been nice if he had an opportunity to get comfortable. I love what he said after the game. I thought he handled his entire media availability with grace and was phenomenal. The rep thing did come up, and he said, hey, not my problem. I have to take advantage of the opportunities that I'm given. I can't control any of that other stuff. He was critical of the way he played. He flat out said, I played poorly. He reacted to the boos that Dillon Gabriel was getting and the cheers that he was getting and said, hey, that's not helpful to anybody. It's not helpful to me. It's not helpful to the team. It's not helpful to Dillon Gabriel. Very thoughtful after the game. So, there's potential here. Let's put it this way. That's my biggest takeaway from yesterday. I see some potential there. And I don't know if it's going to work out. He is a fifth-round pick. But I see potential there that I just, quite frankly, don't see in Dillon Gabriel. And I just believe that had they maybe tried to do a little more with him to get him ready for that spot, maybe they pull a rabbit out of their hat and win that football game yesterday. But again, when you got guys in the locker room like, yeah, we never really worked with the kid, but he handled it pretty well considering we never worked with him. And this is a guy you traded up for. You did spend a fifth-round pick on. You gave up assets to be in the position to take him. I don't know. Maybe you want to prepare for putting the kid on the field, and hopefully Dillon Gabriel is okay. But hopefully too, there's clarity going into the plan this week as far as preparing him for the not only eventuality he could see the field again in Las Vegas, but also potentially be the starter. I doubt that Gabriel will clear the concussion protocol by Wednesday's practice.
Daryl, whose call do you think it was to make him the backup?
That's a great question. I mean, Kevin Stefanski will tell you that it was his call, and he makes all of those decisions when it comes to personnel, but let's be honest about it. That's just not how the Cleveland Browns tend to operate, or that is not how they are perceived to operate. So I'm gonna say it was an organizational decision there, Lima. I think that covers my backside. Whether it was Kevin that made it, whether somebody else in the building.
I don't think it's Kevin. I know you're the reporter and I'm the opinionist, and I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't believe anybody if they say it was Kevin Stefanski's call.
I will say this, Ken. There have been. I'll grant you this. I firmly believe that there have been decisions made during Kevin Stefanski's tenure as head coach, which goes back to 2020. That he disagreed with, that he did not make, and whatnot. Again, because this is how the Cleveland Browns tend to operate.
Daryl Ruiter, brought to you by Scheib & Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. If you're Kevin, do you even want to be here? I'm sorry. Because, again, the coach of the year stuff, and it's like, well, we just take away power, and you just have to deal with it if you're Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah,
there's just no way. Hey, we haven't I know we were just all arguing about reps, and I agree with you, Daryl. I'm on your side in this, but there's just no way. There's no way you would have said, Shedeur's definitely the backup quarterback, and we're gonna, You brought in Bailey Zappi for a reason, so somebody somewhere made a decision that have had ramifications on this, because again, you're putting him in an offense that he doesn't really know. And I keep going back to that report that came out a month ago about how they wanted to get him ready with a week of practice with the ones and with everybody before they were going to ever play him, before they would start him. His first playing time was going to be a start.
Which, by the way, that made sense because that's how you do things.
And I'll tell you this, I'll go even a step further. I thought I almost texted you yesterday after the game because they showed the Bills-Buccaneers game, and Baker was upset that he didn't go in there and take the knee as they were losing because he said, well, I finished the game. And I go, damn it, Lima was right. I go, that was Dillon Gabriel's win. It might end up being his only win. I said he should have went out there. I'm glad you were right and I was wrong, and Dillon Gabriel should have definitely went out there and taken the knee for that victory. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but to your point about Kevin, with him, dealing with all these influences and that's also part of being a coach in any organization. Some organizations have outside influences. What I mean by that is you're like within the building, right? Mm-hmm. Some organizations have tremendous amount of outside influence. See the Dallas Cowboys, right, with Jerry Jones. And the Browns are very similar in a lot of respects to how the Dallas Cowboys handle things, but without the resume that Jerry Jones built some 35 years ago. And I don't know that that's healthy and conducive. What the question I ask when it comes to Kevin now isn't so much about how sick and tired of this is he? Because I'm sure he's human, right? And you do get sick and tired of some things. But I would say maybe the players too. At some point, do they start tuning his message out? But I do believe what we saw yesterday, that didn't look like a team that had tuned out Kevin Stefanski. And I think that's important. And the other thing too is he's not I totally get fan criticism. I mean, obviously, you guys, it's your job. You point things out that you disagree with that Kevin does, and that's all part of it. But that doesn't mean he's not a good coach. And regardless of how this whole thing plays out the rest of the way and whether or not he's back for a seventh year or not, I firmly believe that Kevin Stefanski is a good man and a good football coach. And I also believe that if he goes somewhere else in a more functional franchise than the Cleveland Browns, he with an actual legitimate franchise quarterback, he's going to win. And he's going to win a lot. Because, again, I do believe he's a good head coach, or a good coach, rather. And, those guys really are hard to find, as we know here. And those guys are really hard to find when you're talking about having to deal with all the things that you have to deal with. And I think Kevin Stefanski does a good job of making sure that whatever frustration he has, whatever disagreement he has, whatever anger he might have, he never allows that to be seen or heard publicly, and that's good leadership on his part.
Daryl, was another one for the ages for Myles Garrett, and I was kind of waiting to see what he would say, because we remember after his dominant performance against the Patriots in a loss, how he came off and some of his emotions at the end of that game, and yesterday seemed to be a little different.
Yeah, well, because they had hope at the end. It was right there. They were a pass breakup away from kicking an extra point to tie that football game and force overtime. So, again, I think it goes back to the hope thing, right? I think Myles felt hopeless with the New England loss, and then he saw how that played out yesterday at Huntington Bank Field, and he's like, there's some hope there. We could have had that one. And then he said, hey, I think someone asked him, what did you think about what more you could do? And he said, I got to get the ball out. I had multiple shots at Lamar, and I didn't get the ball out. But yeah, he's I think the fourth player in NFL history with multiple 4-sack games in a season. He's the first player in NFL history with 12 or more sacks in 6 consecutive seasons. Like, every week we're getting a new note about the greatness of Myles Garrett. I don't know if he's going to I don't know if he's going to be able to break the all-time sack record, but he's certainly on the pace for it. And what he is doing is downright historic. It's just a shame that it's not. It's basically going to waste because the Browns aren't winning football games.
What are they going to do with Deshaun Watson this week?
Well, I think my gut tells me they're just going to maintain the status quo, because what's interesting when Kevin is asked about him, Kevin just doesn't even want to go there. You can see it on his face. He just doesn't. I think the response last week was, yeah, that's not happening this week. Something along those lines. And it's almost like he is he who shall not be named. So I'm going to say that nothing, that it's just going to be status quo. But it does appear.
Wait, they can't just let it linger, can they?
I know, but they don't have to open the window. So,
I thought they had to open the window or make a decision by this week. That's how I read it. I'm sorry.
Now, if they open, here's the thing too: is if they open the window, they have 21 days to put him on the active roster, which means they don't have to play him And then if they don't do that, he's lost for the season. But it's going to be interesting to see how they do handle that this week, because Deshaun, in my view, just my take on it, I feel like Deshaun's putting pressure on them by putting all these videos out, showing him doing all these drills and looking healthy in these drills. I kind of feel like Deshaun's forcing the issue a little bit and putting some pressure on the organization and showing everyone, hey, look, I'm fine. The Achilles is back together. I'm doing everything normal quarterbacks do. Why aren't they giving me an opportunity to get back on the field? So that's kind of my read on it too, is Deshaun's really trying to pressure them into making that decision.
Daryl, thank you so much for the time. All the very best to you.
Have fun yelling at each other, guys.
Can I say what today is, or do you not want me to?
I don't care. Do what you got to do.
Today is Daryl's birthday, everybody.
Daryl! Well, now I feel bad about arguing.
Well, no, you don't, Mima. Shut up. You don't.
You shouldn't and you don't.
You do not.
Daryl, the next time I see you, I think it's going to be Wednesday, you're going to get some birthday spankings.
All righty.
Right over there at the Browns. I'm going to make all the Browns come over, and I'm going to give you spankings right over my knee in front of everybody.
I look forward to it, Ken, as always.
I do, Daryl. I just want to let you know I do as well.
No, you do.
I can't wait to spank you, Daryl. Thank you for your time.
Happy birthday, Daryl.
Happy birthday.
You bet, guys. Have a good one. We'll talk to you at the end of the week.